A chance for a series win against the World Series champs. It's Arizona Diamondbacks baseball. Brought to you by Sanderson Ford. The Astros are here, and so are the Puppies for Bark in the Park. A chance to take 2 of 3 from Houston. The D-backs and the Astros on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly along the way. A series win perhaps against the World Series champs. And Bob in the series finale today. Matt Cook gets the baseball for the D-backs.
Yeah, it'd be his 4th start of the season for the Diamondbacks. He had 1 relief appearance when he first got called up. 2 perfect innings, struck out 3 batters. But here are his numbers as a starter this season. 14 strikeouts against 7 walks. He's been really good, keeping the ball down, throwing a lot of strikes.
Well, he's up against it today. Not only does he get the World Series champs, he gets Justin Verlander.
Boy, and it's hard to find a weakness in his game this season. A perfect 4-0 record in 7 starts, 62 punch-outs against only 8 walks, a sparkling ERA of 1.13.
A chance to take 2 of 3 first pitches coming up on Fox Sports Arizona. D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. By your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. And by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs score free jumbo jacks only at Jack in the Box. Is brought to you by Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. And by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs score free jumbo jacks only at Jack in the Box. D-backs take the field on a Sunday in Arizona. The D-backs and the Astros, the finale of this third three-game series. Matt Cook on the mound against Justin Verlander. And before we get started, we pause to honor America. Here is the voice of Chase Field, Mr. Chuck Drago.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and please remove your hats. Please direct your attention to the field as we honor the United States of America and pay tribute to our veterans, active duty, and retired men and women of our armed services. The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Houston Astros invite you to join in the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner, performed by the combined choirs of Kokopah Middle School under the direction of Mimi Borders.
Chase Field, the roof closed, hot out there today in the Valley of the Sun. Welcome in, it's D-backs baseball, brought to you by Sanderson Ford. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Renly, Jody Jackson along the way, Oscar Soria, and Rodrigo Lopez on our Fox Sports Arizona Plus Spanish broadcast. Here's a look at the Astros lineup in the rubber game of this three-game set. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
George Springer once again will lead it off out in center field. Jose Altuve at second base. Carlos Correa at shortstop. Josh Reddick moves up to the 4th spot today. He'll be out in right field with Alex Bregman at third base. Brian McCann, the veteran, behind the plate. Marwin Gonzalez moves into first base today. Derek Fisher will be out in left field, and right-hander Justin Verlander on the mound.
And for the D-backs, your Ram truck starting pitcher is Matt Cook, the 27-year-old right-hander. And Matt has done a fine job taking the rotation spot of the injured Taijuan Walker. 3 starts so far. He's given up a total of only 5 earned runs.
Yeah, he's pitched well enough to win all 3 of his starts. You may remember when he was hooked up against the San Diego Padres, Tyson Ross very nearly threw a no-hitter in that game. Well, Matt Cook only gave up 2 hits and 1 run in 6 innings against the Padres that night. Came away with a no decision.
E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense.
Last night's walk-off hero, A.J. Pollock, out in center field once again today. David Peralta will be in left. Steven Souza Jr. in right. It'll be Daniel Descalso at third base. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Ketel Marte at second base. Paul Goldschmidt over at first with Alex Avila doing the catching for right-hander Matt Cook.
Roberto Ortiz behind the plate this afternoon for the umpires calling the balls and strikes. The crew chief Brian Gorman's at first base. Dan Isonia at second, and the third base ump is Mike DeMuro. And we have a moment here, Bob. Let's take a look at your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
For Matt Cook, he just needs to take care of his own business. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, you're hooked up with Justin Verlander today. Well, he's going to face Justin Verlander maybe once or twice in the ball game. He's got to work his way through this Astros lineup. Just take care of your business, keep the ball down, throw strikes.
Astros come in 7 over 500 percentage points behind the Angels for the American League West Division lead. Houston's loss last night snapped a 7-game road winning streak. George Springer, 273 and 7 homers, leads it off for Houston. Springer 5 hits in the series. He homered here last night. Springer really hot right now. .330 in his last 22 games, including 6 homers. Nick Ahmed at shortstop.
Well, when Matt Cook is on top of his game, that's what you hope to see a lot of. Ground balls right at defenders. He's not going to strike out a lot of guys. He hopefully isn't going to walk very many guys. The ball is going to be put in play. You just hope it's weak contact at defenders.
Celebrating his 28th birthday today, it's Jose Altuve. .324. He's homered twice. There's some more weak contact off the end of the bat. Ketel Marte. 2 outs on 3 pitches for Matt Cook. And now he'll deal with Carlos Correa. Correa leads the Astros in RBIs, batting .298 with 5 home runs. 0 for 5 last night. He struck out twice. Roberto Ortiz behind the plate's been working as a vacation fill-in umpire the last few seasons, and he's a guy that calls a lot of strikes, more than most umpires, especially balls down in the zone, maybe even a few inches off the plate. So that might work out in Matt Cook's favor here today. Right there for Cook, and it's 0-2.
One advantage of pitching the 3rd game of a 3-game series is you've had an opportunity to watch every at bat that these Astros hitters have taken in the first 2 ball games and maybe come up with an alternate game plan if somebody's swinging a particularly hot bat. Stick with the game plan if you've been getting them out.
D-backs did a good job last night, holding the Astros to 3 runs on 7 hits. Cook ahead of Correa, 0-2. There's that curveball. That's the pitch that Matt has worked hard on, trying to bring it up to a major league level consistency. He's relied so far primarily on fastball command. And that fastball averages 92. He throws it a little less than half the time. Almost always in or around the strike zone. That's a fastball driven to right center field. AJ is there. Good start for Matt Cook. Justin Verlander coming up. Ram truck starter for Houston, the right-hander Justin Verlander, now 35 years old, but pitching as well as ever. Unbeaten in 7 starts. That 1.13 ERA is the best in the American League. He's 3rd in the majors in strikeouts.
I was looking through Baseball Reference this morning, partner. I always try to find a weakness in the opposing pitcher. He struggles against lefties. He struggles with runners on base. He struggles after the second plate appearance. It's tough to find a weakness in Justin Verlander's game this year.
He has been on top of his game now in his 2nd season with the Astros after coming over at the trade deadline last year. David Peralta leads it off the D-backs. Astros have the shift on, and there's strike 1. David, 296 and 6 home runs. Homered here last night. There's a look at the unusual defensive alignment. You see the infield shifted over toward the right and the outfield over toward the left.
Well, this is even more exaggerated than the outfield shifts we've seen in the first 2 games for the Astros. I mean, literally, Josh Reddick is standing in the gap in right center in front of the Ram truck's pool. That's the right fielder.
Look at all that room down the line in right. David really good at going the other way when he does hit it into the outfield, the left and left center. That's what A.J. Hinch is expecting.
Verlander will use mostly a fastball slider combination. He has a good curveball that he'll mix in as well. Doesn't really throw an off-speed pitch per se. He has had a changeup in the past, but rarely uses it or needs it.
Strikes out Peralta. Let's take a look at the D-backs lineup today. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealer.
David Peralta will be out in left field. Daniel Descalso making his way to the plate will be at third base. Paul Goldschmidt at first. A.J. Pollock out in center field. Steven Souza Jr. back-to-back games will once again be out in right field. Ketel Marte at second base. Alex Avila catching. Nick Ahmed at shortstop, and Matt Cook on the mound.
Daniel Descalso batting second for the 2nd night in a row, playing third base. Bregman is in on the grass at third. Astros have 3 infielders on the right side. Descalso 238, 3 homers. Lines it to center. Springer will play it on a hop. A base hit for Descalso. E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the Houston defense.
Derek Fisher getting a start in left field today. George Springer out in center field once again. Josh Reddick will be over in right or right center depending on the hitter. Alex Bregman at third base. Carlos Correa at shortstop. Jose Altuve celebrating a birthday at second base today with Marwin Gonzalez at first. Brian McCann, the veteran catcher, and the right-hander Justin Verlander on the mound.
Paul Goldschmidt 233 and 4 home runs. He is 0 for 6 in the series. There's that breaking ball from Verlander, a slider. Goldie started off this season 3 for 30, and that's where all the discussion about when will he snap out of it started. Well, he's in another 3 for 30 right now after a bit of a hot streak on the previous road trip.
Well, I've got good news and bad news when it comes to Goldie. If you go back to September 23rd last season until today, that's a total of 40 ball games. He's hit .207 with 5 homers and 14 runs driven in, a .120 hitter with runners in scoring position over that span. The good news is the team has gone 26 and 14.
Unbelievable.
Just echoing what Torrey has said over and over this season. You know, obviously Goldie's a guy they're going to rely on as the season moves forward, but right now he's sputtering, but other guys are picking up the slack.
Reddick in right field, drifting over there near the line. Bark in the park here at the ballpark. We have dogs in the park and in the booth. Jon Snow has made his first appearance at Chase Field this year. A.J. Pollock AJ 298, 10 homers. He's 5th in the league with that OPS, just over 1,000. And this was the walk-off winner last night.
I love it when a plan comes together. AJ went to the plate looking for a first pitch slider from Brad Peacock. He got it and got just enough to sneak it through that left side for the game winner.
That was a solid win for the D-backs, knowing you were up against Verlander here today. Torey Lovullo was telling us this morning a lot of similarities he sees with Verlander and Friday starter Garrett Cole, who struck out 16 D-backs with that one-hit shutout. Verlander, similar work habits, power stuff, just like Garrett Cole. Similar fastball velocity and locations. But with Verlander, now you're dealing with a guy who's probably got better secondary pitches. And so the D-backs today hope to avoid fishing at the pitches Verlander wants them to fish at. Just like that. That's that slider, and it's a good one at 87. 1-1. That's exactly the kind of pitch Torey was talking about, that hard breaking ball.
Yeah, normally you would face a guy like Garrett Cole in the first game of the series and go, whew, got that one out of the way. Now we beat up on the rest of their starters. That doesn't happen against the Astros. You get a quality frontline starter every day.
And Charlie Morton last night was 4-0 with a 1.72. Verlander today 4-0 with a 1.13. And there's another slider.
Fortunately, the Diamondbacks caught Charlie Morton on a bad night last night. Just couldn't really command anything, especially his fastball. 4 walks in the first inning.
82 pitches for Morton through 5 innings last night, barely half for strikes. Descalso, the runner at first, 2 outs, 1 and 2 on AJ Pollock.
See Charlie Morton over there. The starting pitchers the day after they pitch, they kind of take inventory. Ooh, that hurts. Ooh, what's that from?
A steady diet of sliders to AJ Pollock. Verlander gets the strikeout. No score after 1.
Jackson with you. It's time for our top of the order, what to watch for. Now a lot of talk about Matt Cook, matching up against Clayton Kershaw in his last start, and then another MVP in Justin Verlander. But is Cook the real MVP? We know he's given the Diamondbacks quite a bit of value here as he's filling in for Taijuan Walker in his spot. He's gone down with injury, and now with Robbie Ray also, that spot is still a little bit in flux. So not to put any undue pressure on Cookie, but he is looking to once again go out and give the D-backs some good solid innings. Also, I asked Alex Avila and former teammate Justin Verlander about in-hitters meetings. Is he going to be able to give them any advantage? He said, look, yeah, guys are asking a little bit about his personality, what could throw him off his game, but he said we have so much great information in our hitters meetings that it all comes together. But he's talked to him quite a bit. Facing him is still a little bit weird after they spent so many years together forming that battery for the Tigers.
Oh, I'm sure it is, Jody, but Alex was Taking a big role center stage in the hitters meeting before the ball game today, having caught Verlander all those years in Detroit. So if anybody knows Justin Verlander, it's Alex Avila. Josh Reddick leads off the Houston second. Matt Cook a 9-pitch first. 1-1 on the Astros right fielder.
We tried that back in the day when I was coaching with the Giants and we were playing against the Pirates, and asked Barry Bonds if he would be willing to come into the pitchers meeting and talk about some of the Pirates hitters that were his teammates just a year before.
How'd that go?
Well,
yeah, figured. This is popped up behind second. Ahmed drifting out there. AJ will come in and take it. 4 up, 4 down for Matt Cook.
we got to Andy Van Slyke. Barry said he ain't nothing, he ain't never going to be nothing, and he got up and walked out of the room, and that was the end of the scouting report on the Pirates hitters.
Thanks for that. Good talk. He was wrong about that, by the way.
By the way, yeah.
Alex Bregman, 254 and a homer. We've talked about all year about how Matt Cook is a strike thrower, very efficient out there, and he's not messing around here today. 4 up, 4 down on 13 pitches. There's a high fastball. 1-0 on Bregman. Matt has done a good job with that fastball. He's mixed in his cutter, which is likely his second best pitch, and that breaking ball, the curveball, has really come along nicely. That's a good example of Matt just locating that fastball, got the corner down and away. And he's throwing his changeup enough to keep people honest about it. But he really feels like that curveball is getting a lot more consistent. There's the cutter. 2-1. Bregman has singled, doubled, and walked twice in this series. He's hit safely in 4 straight games. Falling behind 3-1 with Brian McCann on deck. Lifted in the air, deep right center field. AJ Pollock will watch it go. Alex Bregman, that's his second this year, and it's 1-0 Houston. Third home run given up this year by Matt Cook.
A little fastball out there on the outside part of the plate, about belt high. I'll tell you what, this game changes fast, partner. We just had the Dodgers in town, a good-looking young hitter from down in Tucson, Alex Verdugo. You look at a guy like Alex Bregman. I mean, the Astros have a lot of young players that are established major league players. Carlos Correa, some of these guys that are still young players. That one's lined to Ketel Marte at second base. But then you got a guy like Alex Bregman, who I think is going to be a superstar in this game, both offensively and defensively at third base. Alex Verdugo, as I mentioned, for the Dodgers. It's a new wave of young players coming up that I think have a chance to be really, really good.
And it's interesting because the back end of that, as Marwin Gonzalez steps in, I think is what we saw in the free agent market this past winter. If you're a free agent and you're over 30 years old, a lot of teams have a 22-year-old, 23-year-old guy they have their eyes on instead, that they don't have to pay the big free agent money.
Sure.
So teams are moving their younger guys up a lot quickly, a lot more fast. Here's Gonzalez, who's playing first base today. Day off for Yuli Gurriel.
We even go back to that last road trip, the Phillies and all the young players that they have, Rhys Hoskins and Aaron Altair, some of those young guys that look like they're going to be really good major league players. A whole new wave.
Oh, look at Atlanta, what the Braves are rolling out there every day. That is a very young team loaded with athletic talent in Atlanta. I mean, Altuve's been around forever. He just turned 28 years old today. AJ in center. Alex Bregman's second this year has made it 1-0 Houston. The Astros early. Fans, this summer the World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1. Every match live. Over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th on Fox and FS1. Alex Bregman's home run has given the Astros the early lead. Souza Jr. still looking for his first D-backs base hit. Leads off the bottom of the second against Justin Verlander. Fastball off the plate, 1-0. Souza 0 for 7 so far after missing the first 30 games this year with that strained right pectoral muscle. Suffered on the diving catch attempt in spring training. But he says everything feels 100%. It's been a long process coming back. The throwing was the final hurdle, but that's completely back to normal, he says.
Which is good because throwing was always one of his strengths.
Oh, he's got a big arm.
Yep.
Jake Lamb had a full workout today. Went through the whole deal after getting a cortisone shot in that left shoulder the other day. So he's coming along nicely. Coming off that injury, teams might be trying to pound Souza inside with hard fastballs. I think we've seen that certainly last night.
That's not uncommon. Guy coming off the disabled list for any reason. You just want to make sure that you get that fastball in there far enough.
Souza Jr. hits a high fly ball. Fisher's got it in left field. And that's the first out in the second.
Yeah, try to take advantage of a guy's lack of timing because of being out for as long as he was. But it looks to me like he's getting very, very close to being where he wants to be.
Here's Ketel Marte. He's down to 218 with a homer. 0 for 3 with a walk last night. Bregman will come in from third on the grass. And Ketel is another guy who's going through some mechanical malfunctions lately. And for him it's a twofold because he's got what's turned into separate sets of mechanics from each side of the plate, the switch hitter. He's stuck in a 4 for 24 skid right now. Lifted behind shortstop. Fisher comes in from left field. 2 outs.
Hey fans, the D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Well, as Jody just mentioned a moment ago, here's the matchup. Longtime Tigers catcher Alex Avila and longtime Tiger pitcher Justin Verlander. Battery mates for years and years in Detroit. Alex 148. He's got 2 homers. Astros will put the shift on against him. Did you like doing this, facing a guy you'd caught for a long time?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. Alex Avila 3 for 8 lifetime against his former teammate with a couple of bombs. Yeah, I felt like it was a slight advantage just to know a term Torrey likes to use, the shape of a pitcher's pitches. You know, what's his slider look like? Is it short and sharp? Does it roll? Is it flat? Yeah, I think it's a slight advantage if you've caught somebody before, but then you get into that thing. Well, he thinks that I think that he thinks that I think he's going to throw a fastball, so I'm going to look for a breaking ball. You can put yourself into a slump against a guy you know too well.
So Verlander try that slow loopy curveball there. Avila walked as a pinch hitter last night. He was 0 for 3 in his start behind the plate Friday in the series opener. Brian McCann back there today. Doubled up on that curveball, got a strike with it that time, and it's 1-2. Those 2 slow curveballs, I think he's just messing with him at this point.
And once again, McCann giving multiple signs with nobody on at second base. We talked about it in the ball game last night. Just a little paranoia on the part of the visiting team. Just want to make sure that nobody's out in the center field area relaying anything to the Diamondbacks hitters.
Verlander wanted to go to a 3rd straight curveball there. He shook off the first one. Avila laid off the pitch. It was low, and it's 2-2. Nick Ahmed on deck. Got him on a slider. 3rd strikeout for Verlander. D-backs trail at 1-0. Fans, Mother's Day 1 week from today, and if you messed up, if you forgot, don't worry, we got you covered. Bring mom and the whole family down here to Chase Field. First 10,000 moms will take home a D-backs tote bag. That's courtesy of bubbly sparkling water. Visit dbacks.com/mom, and we'll see you here at the ballpark for Mother's Day. Derek Fisher leads off the Astros 3rd against Matt Cook. Alex Bregman's solo home run in the 2nd, the only scoring so far. Fisher making his 14th start this season in left field. 185. He's homered twice. He had a big pinch hit RBI double in the 8th inning last night against Yoshi Hirano. D-backs overload the right hand side. Fisher's got occasional power. Last month he hit a 425-foot home run off Shohei Ohtani of the Angels, the longest Ohtani has given up this year. There's that slow curveball that Matt's worked so hard on. 0-2. Trying it again there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Fisher was a first-round pick by the Astros in the 2014 draft out of UVA. He's a Wahoo. Played in just over 50 games with Houston as a rookie last year. Elevates the fastball, and Matt gets his first strikeout.
A good job right there by Matt Cook, mixing up his pitches to Derek Fisher. He started him with a fastball. Actually, that was a breaking ball. Breaking ball in the dirt right there. There's the high fastball for strike 3.
The pitcher, Justin Verlander. Verlander, as basically a lifetime American leaguer, doesn't have a whole lot of experience. Swinging a bat.
Fouls the first pitch off his former catcher. Alex had some words for him right there. Hit it the other way.
14 years in, he's got 1 RBI. What's all the fuss about? One and 2. Houston's loss here last night snapped a 7-game road winning streak. The Astros are 11-5 on the road this year. Fastball is right there. Back-to-back strikeouts open up the Houston third for Matt Cook. Astros averaging nearly 6 runs per game on the road so far this year. Bases empty, 2 down for Springer, who grounded out to lead off the ballgame. Starts him off with a curveball, 1-0. George Springer, 15 career games against the Diamondbacks. He's hitting .453. Come on, man. 5 doubles and 4 home runs. There's that curveball. It's looking good here in this 3rd inning. That felt like that curveball needed to get a little more consistent than it had been, and needs that pitch to start working for him if he's going to succeed at this level. A funny hop for Descalso at 3rd. Nicely done. And Matt Cook has set down 5 in a row since the Bregman homer. Bottom third. D-backs trail the Astros 1-0. Justin Verlander's had that slider working pretty well so far, and one reason may be the spin rate, Bob.
Yeah, obviously the faster you can spin it, the more break the ball is going to take. 2,945 revolutions per minute. Major league average on a slider, you can see just over 2,400.
And any theories as to why some guys just spin it more or better than other guys?
Trevor Bauer has a theory about why the Astros are able to spin it so well. He basically accused them of using pine tar or some other kind of foreign substance to get a better grip on the baseball, which would increase your spin rate. So that's his theory.
Nick Ahmed leads it off for the D-backs. I know we've seen guys with pine tar or some kind of substance on their uniforms, not Astro pitchers necessarily, but just about anybody. Some guys have what do you call it, like sunblock on their arms, maybe anything to get a better grip, right?
Different substances you can use, and a lot of them are clear, so
they're hard to see.
They are very hard to see.
Fastball up and in. Nick's down 0-2. Ahmed 0 for 7 in the series, hitting .223 on the year.
I went into full-blown brain cramp last week one day when we were trying to figure out the spin rate. 2,900 revolutions per minute. Well, the ball only takes 0.4 of a second to get to home plate. So how many times does it actually spin from the time it leaves the pitcher's hand until it gets into the hitting zone? I think we said it was around 17 or 18 revolutions between the pitcher's mound and the hitting zone. So the 2,900, it's a number. It's how they measure it. But it's a little deceiving.
Went to the curveball. He's got the slider and the curveball coming off that fastball. Gets his 4th strikeout.
That's just a straight downer curveball that time. He's got that slider that works not only down but works laterally away from a right-handed hitter, and that curveball that breaks straight down, which is effective against everybody.
Here's the pitcher, Matt Cook. Justin Verlander coming off a no decision in his previous start. That was Tuesday against the Yankees. The Astros didn't score a run in that game, but Verlander held New York to only 3 hits in 8 innings, didn't walk a batter, and matched his career high with 14 strikeouts. Tough to pitch like that and not come away with a win. But the 3 hits he gave up in that start against the Yankees, all singles. And in the ball game, Verlander retired the last 14 he faced. It was his 2nd double-digit strikeout of the game this year. And for Verlander, it starts off with a really good fastball slider combo. We've already seen that here today. And really good control. And as the games go along, that curveball oftentimes gets better and better, sharper and sharper, and he'll go to that later in the game. We've seen mostly fastball sliders here so far. There's some high heat at 96, his 5th strikeout.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free crunchy beef tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Well, Verlander's retired 7 straight. He struck out 3 in a row. Peralta punched out to lead off the ball game. Astros overload the right-hand side.
Talking about double-digit strikeout games, the Astros pitching staff has 6 of them already this year. The rest of Major League Baseball has 6 combined.
Cole, Morton, Verlander, Keuchel, McCullers. There's some high heat. 0-1. That's when you run into trouble against Justin Verlander, and Torrey talked about that this morning. Chasing pitches against him. Fishing for the ones he wants you to fish at. Oh, 0-2. Just one fastball after another so far for Peralta.
You know, we've seen a lot and talked a lot about the exaggerated shifts this year, but I think the Astros are the most exaggerated defensive team with their shifts, and I think it's because their pitchers can throw the ball where they want to.
Well, that's why they play the outfield where they do against Peralta. Fisher right on the line in left, and he's got it in fair territory. D-backs trail at 1-0. Here past either dugout. You always have to be alert during the Matt Cook at bat. Watch Steven Souza Jr. in the D-backs dugout. Off the screen, barehanded catch. And what does that make him? It makes him a ninja.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Cat-like quickness. Jose Altuve leads off the Houston fourth against Matt Cook. Backs Altuve off the plate. He grounded out his first time up. Altuve, the birthday boy today, is 28. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Altuve 0 for 2. That's 6 in a row set down by Matt Cook since the Bregman homer.
You mentioned it's Jose Altuve's birthday today. He shares a birthday with Gerardo Parra, former Diamondback. Larry Anderson, now broadcasting for the Phillies, former great pitcher to major league level out of the bullpen. And Willie Mays celebrating his 87th birthday today.
Pretty good company.
Not bad.
Correa 0 for 1. He was 0 for 5 last night. Starts him off with a curveball that misses. Carlos Correa, a road batting average this year of .419. That is the best in the major leagues. The classic upset reaction after the check swing foul. I didn't mean to do that.
I like the fact that Matt Cook is pitching aggressively inside to these Astros hitters. I mean, if you let them just lean out over the plate all day long, it's going to be a short outing. Keep them honest. That makes that pitch even more effective.
Cutter that he just got a piece of. Avila hangs on. Fastball, cutter, curveball change from Matt Cook. 1-2 to Carlos Correa. That was the changeup, misses wildly. 2-2. He doesn't throw that pitch a whole lot.
Yeah, right now I'd call that changeup just a show me pitch.
Yeah.
Mix it in when you're ahead in the count. Make sure you miss in your favor, but just to plant the seed in the Astros' minds that you will throw a changeup.
That is belted toward the left field corner, and it's off the wall. Correa has his 12th double. He doubled twice here Friday night.
Up, belt high, inner third of the plate. Probably fortunate he only hit a double right there. That's the kind of ball that Carlos Correa can launch into the stratosphere.
Just the second hit for Houston after Bregman's solo homer in the second. That brings up Reddick, who flying out to center his first time up.
Reddick 112 off the bat. That double into the corner by Correa.
This is hit hard to Souza in right field, and he runs it down. Correa scampers back to the bag. 2 outs.
Hey, fans, receive 15% off at the Chase Field Team Shop when you use the card by Gila River Casinos.
Steven Souza Jr. is an outstanding defensive outfielder. He can range well over there into the corner and really chases balls down well in the gaps in right center. And you're going to like what you see from him defensively this year. Dave McKay responsible for positioning the outfield defenders. Here's Bregman, who homered in the second, his second this year. You thought A.J. Pollock might be able to chase this ball down off the bat of Bregman, but it went over the fence for a home run. Bregman homered twice in the division series last October for the Astros. Hit 2 more home runs in the World Series against the Dodgers. Jammed him with a fastball. Descalso coming in from third. And Cook strands that one out double. D-backs trail at 1-0.
One to nothing on the strength of an Alex Bregman solo homer. Time to take a look at our legacy moment, brought to you by Geico. Back in 1983, Rod Carew went 3 for 4 against the Tigers to raise his batting average to 500.
So on May the 6th, he was hitting 500 for the year.
My.
Wow.
He was still over 400 at the All-Star break, but cooled off in the second half, finished at 339. 500 after a month.
What a player. Woo. Twins and Angels all those years. Here's Daniel Descalso, who's got the D-backs only hit a single in the first inning. And since that single, Verlander's retired 8 straight. He's got 5 strikeouts.
I know I've told the story many times in the past about Rod Carew. When I was a young major league player, we went over to Tempe to play the Angels one day. And it was very early. That's back in the day when you took batting practice wherever you played that particular day. And we were there early, and Rod Carew and a coach and a couple of bat boys were the only people on the stadium field. The rest of the guys were on the backfield taking batting practice. And there was Rod Carew, and there was a hula hoop, and they placed it on the third baseline about halfway between home and third, close to the foul line, and he was bunting one ball after another after another after another into that hula hoop on the third base side, which I thought was truly amazing. Then they moved it to the first base side, and he did the same thing.
1-2 on Descalso. This is belted deep to center field. Springer won't get there. It's going to reach the wall. Descalso into second with his 6th double. He's 2 for 2.
Daniels barreled it up twice already against Justin Verlander. Gets a 4-seamer up and out over the plate. And that pull shift, or actually an opposite field shift in the outfield, puts Springer way out of position. He's just getting into your picture there in straightaway center field.
Well, he's in scoring position to lead it off. And if anybody could use an RBI right now, it's Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie has had 1 run batted in, 1 RBI in his last 18 games. He flat out his first time up. Goldie's last RBI April 21st. Boy, that fastball just missed for Roberto Ortiz. Verlander wanted it. It's 1-0. Yeah, wow. Where else do I have to throw it? It's a tapper to shortstop. Correa's got it. And they retire Goldie. Can't move the runner along. That brings up A.J. Pollock. A.J. struck out to end the first. He singled, had a pair of RBIs last night, including the walk-off winner. He's hit safely in 5 of his last 6. 295 on the year. There's that slider. Boy, Verlander, 43 pitches, 32 strikes. He's always around the strike zone. He's now gone 19 consecutive innings without walking a batter. That's the 4th longest stretch like that for him in his career. His best is 24 straight innings without a base on balls. Well, AJ's the right guy up there in this spot. 15 RBIs in his last 16 games. He's hitting over .330 during that span. Just off the plate at 97. 2-1. Well, that fastball is right there at the knees. And Roberto Ortiz, who has gained a reputation as a strike caller, has an awfully slim strike zone for Verlander right now. He's thrown 2 strikes, both called balls, and it's 3-1. Souza on deck. Ortiz will most often give you that low pitch, but Verlander's not getting the calls on the edges to these right-hand hitters. Went with a slider, and it's full 3-2. Getting a lot of swings and misses with that pitch today.
His command of it is just remarkable. Every one of them starts on the outer third of the plate and then sweeps off the outside corner to the right-handed hitters.
Long set of signs from Brian McCann. Full count, 3-2. He didn't go, says Brian Gorman. Tried another slider. Pollock checked the swing. 2 on and 1 out for Souza.
Well, AJ saw a lot of sliders in his first at bat. He's going to see a bunch more here. That was the first pitch. Another slider off the outside corner. That's a 97-mile-an-hour heater just off the zone. That's the one he really wanted, the 96-mile-an-hour down. AJ swung at a slider off the plate and then takes a slider off the plate for ball 4.
First base on balls for Verlander in 19 innings. 19. Souza flying out his first time. 2 on and 1 out. Lifted in the air. Right field for Reddick. Jumped on a first pitch fastball. 2 down. Ketel Marte. Descalso at second, Pollock at first, 2 outs. Marte had a 10-game hitting streak last month, but since that streak ended, over his last 15 games, he's hit about 160. Verlander right at 50 pitches, 34 for strikes. He has walked 1, struck out 5.
Torey Lovella likes to talk about moments in a ball game, and against Justin Verlander, you don't know how many moments you're going to get. A couple of base runners on there, one in the gap wouldn't hurt a thing right now.
He's watching some of his best hitters right now struggle almost as a collective. It's been virtually a team-wide phenomenon for the D-backs lately. We've got Peralta swinging a hot bat, Pollock obviously, and Descalso's had a nice run the last couple of weeks. Other than that, it's been a very quiet offensive group. Dave Magadan knows it's going to turn sooner or later. He's been working a lot with Ketel Marte on his left-hand batting stance. Late on a fastball. 1-2. Why you see the D-backs in so many close games these days, so many one-run games it seems. Last night 4-3. The offense is just struggling to put up some crooked numbers.
I was kind of hoping we would get a look at McCullers in this series. He's a pitcher that'll stand out on the mound, and when the hitter's not looking, he'll just mouth to the catcher what he wants to throw. Fastball, breaking ball. That shot we just had of Justin Verlander before the timeout right here, looking in at the catcher to get the sign. If the batter's looking down at the third base coach, he'll just tell the catcher what he wants to throw. Kurt Schilling used to do that a lot.
Well, McCann uses a mound visit to make sure they get this one right. 1-2, 2 on and 2 outs. Just foul down the third baseline. Mark Strawberry Fields down there, our Golden Glover. And in right field today, it's the Dark Knight, Tom Harvey.
Leading cheers.
Yes. Tom Harvey. The only Harvey this week who was not designated for assignment. 1-2. Got him. Verlander strands 2. He's got 6 strikeouts and a 1-0 lead. Showstopper. I know you love this play. Trey Turner on a stolen base attempt. Nats and Phils.
Beautiful. Balls popped up to the right side of the infield, but watch the shortstop for the Phillies, Pedro Florimon. What a deke on Trey Turner.
So it ends up being a double play to end the inning. The pop-up is the second out. Turner off and running on the pitch.
Yeah, Florimon he even applies a secondary tag just in case Turner steps off the bag. Oh no, I've been caught. Hang with him. That was a great deke.
As dekes go, that was a good one. Brian McCann. First pitch swinging, a fastball for Matt Cook. Right center for Pollock. Growing up in the day, Marty Barrett, the old Red Sox second baseman, used to be great at that. They used to call him the deke master.
Everybody in baseball used to call him Marty Flaret, because he would hit these little flares that would just drop out of the reach of the infielders in front of the outfielders.
Marwin Gonzalez. So far, Matt Cook against one of the best lineups anywhere has been outstanding. Has given up only 2 hits. One of them an Alex Bregman solo homer, the game's only run.
Well, if there's anything that's really unusual about Matt Cook's outing today is the fact he has 7 fly ball outs already. Usually that signals trouble for Matt Cook. If he's keeping the ball on the ground, that's when he's at his best. Only 4 ground ball outs, 2 strikeouts.
Gonzalez trying to bunt his way on. Descalso can't pick it up. We saw Jeff Mathis do that at a critical point in the ball game last night. Bunt single for Gonzalez.
Really, the only play Daniel has is to try to barehanded, hope you come up with it cleanly and have somewhat of a grip on the ball. That time he couldn't even grab it cleanly with the bare hand.
So he's on board for the 8 and 9 hitters. Here's Derek Fisher, the left fielder who struck out his first time against Matt Cook. D-backs have 3 infielders on the right side. There's the cut fastball missed upstairs. It's 1-0. Into the shift, bobbles it. Marte has to settle for 1.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
So Gonzalez, and at second they couldn't turn 2 there on the Marte bobble. 2 down for Verlander, the pitcher, who struck out his first time. Fastball's right there on the corners. Doesn't get the call. It's 1-1. Rockies winners today in New York. They beat the Mets 3-2. Giants 4-3 winners in Atlanta. Dodgers and Padres no score right now. 4th inning in Monterrey, Mexico. San Diego won last night. This is going to be tricky. No play for Descalso. Gonzalez sneaks in at third. A swing and bunt for Verlander, and it's a base hit.
Almost as good as Marwin Gonzalez' intentional bunt for a base hit. Just a little chopper to the third base side. And with Daniel Descalso playing back with 2 strikes on Verlander, just not enough time to recover. He quickly looks back to third base to see if they could catch Gonzalez rounding the bag too far, but no chance.
And now you've got to deal with Springer. Runners in the corners and 2 down. He is twice grounded out, 0 for 2. 5 hits in the series. He homered here last night. How about that? Comes right after him with a fastball. 0-1. He's got that nice pretty bat that you like so much.
Looks like a piece of furniture.
Got that nice laminate on it.
Well, it doesn't even look like it has a mark on it. It looks like he uses a new bat every at bat. I'm sure that's not the case, but boy, it looks pristine.
Let's keep it that way. In with a fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike on George Springer, the Astros center fielder. An all-star last season, 34 home runs. He was the World Series MVP. High bouncer for Ahmed. Going to have to. Well, Verlander's not even going to run. He concedes defeats. Good job by Matt Cook to keep it 1-0. Valley Toyota Dealers presents Let's Go Places. Travel day tomorrow. We're off to LA for a quick 2-game series. By the way, the Dodgers put Clayton Kershaw on the DL today with biceps tendonitis.
Just keeps getting better and better.
And they're going to get Puig back, they think, Wednesday. But again, we've seen a lot of LA so far this year, already 10 games. But they're still without Turner. They're without Seager for the gear. Ryu and Kershaw both went on the DL this week. Ouch. So I think we get Rich Hill and Alex Wood in that series.
Dodgers 3 games under 500 going into play today, 7 games behind the Diamondbacks in the National League West.
D-backs will have Zach Godley Tuesday night in LA, Patrick Corbin Wednesday. Both games for you right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Well, Torlavelo looking for some offense. That's been the case for a while now. So far, only 2 base hits against Justin Verlander, both by Daniel Descalso, a single and a double. Verlander has walked 1. He struck out 6. And his former battery mate in Detroit, Alex Avila, leads off the Arizona 5th.
Well, as we've clearly seen in the first 4 innings of this game, Justin Verlander pretty much has everything working today. He's had 6 strikeouts, 2 on fastballs, 1 on a curve, and 3 on that hard slider.
Boy, he was so big for them in October. And what a career it's been. A 14th year in the big leagues now, Justin Verlander. He just turned 35 years old during spring training. 8 wins shy of 200 for his career. He's been a Cy Young winner and a league MVP winner. Runner-up for the Cy Young on 2 other occasions. But McCann not liking what he's seeing here behind on Avila, 3-0.
How about these numbers for Justin Verlander with the Astros, including postseason? Total of 18 ball games, 17 of those starts. His record is 13-1, a 1.45 ERA, opponent's OPS of 479, 143 strikeouts against only 21 walks.
And there's the story that it almost didn't happen. He had a no trade clause in his Tiger contract, a 10-5 guy, and apparently he said okay about 3 minutes before the deadline, maybe even less than that. And they were able to get him to Houston at the very last instant. And what a difference he's made. He was the ALCS MVP with the Astros last year. He won 4 postseason starts in October. Nick Ahmed will be next. Pitcher spot after that. Fouled away, and it's full 3-2. Tried a slider, missed inside. Good at bat there by Alex Avila. Second walk issued by Verlander, who had gone 19 straight innings without issuing a base on balls. He walked Pollock in the 4th, and now Avila to start the 5th. That brings up Nick Ahmed. Another slider up that time, and it's 0-1. Nick is 0 for 8 in the series, hitless in his last 4 games. Matt Cook is out there in the on-deck circle, set to take the at-bat. Bullpen is quiet for the D-backs here in the 5th. Matt has still only thrown 55 pitches in the ball game through 5 innings. He's been tremendously efficient out there. One run on 4 hits for Houston. No runs, 2 hits for the D-backs. Avila over there after a leadoff walk. 0-2 on Ahmed with Cook on deck. Little tapper. Correa was back at shortstop, and they're able to get Nick at first. Slow roller hit to short. Avila moves up. Let's take a look. Jerry Narron on the phone with Alan Campbell.
Certainly not what Nick had in mind, but it serves the purpose of a sac bunt. In a 1-run ball game, you move Alex Avila up into scoring position with that slow ground ball to shortstop. Pretty nice play that time by Correa. He knew he had to hurry. And they just do get Nick, it appears, if Gonzalez kept his foot on the bag.
Well, now you've got the tying run at second, 1 out in the 5th inning. And you're almost obligated to let Matt take the at-bat here the way he's going. Hope for the best against Verlander.
Yeah, he can swing it a little bit if Verlander would happen to make a mistake in the middle of the plate.
Oh, 0-2. He's trying to give himself up here.
Yeah, this is a tough ask here for Matt Cook. You got a really good defensive third baseman in Alex Bregman. Justin Verlander, a great athlete out there on the mound. He really fields his position well. You've got a middle infielder by trade playing first base today and a slow runner at second. This is a tough time to get down a sac bunt.
See what they want to do with 2 strikes. Bregman stays in on the grass at third, backs up just a bit here. Now he's even with a bag down there. 0-2 on Cook. Squares to bunt, pops it up, gets it down. Avila moves to third. 2-4 on the sacrifice for Cook. The batter will be Peralta now with 2 down.
Getting that bunt down with 2 strikes is even tougher. Nice job by Matt Cook to move Avila up to third base. Now it's up to David Peralta with 2 outs in the inning. Obviously need a little something here. Just seeing that conversation makes you wonder if the Diamondbacks maybe took the bunt off with 2 strikes and wanted Cookie to swing away right there. Not quite sure. We'll find out after the ball game.
David has struck out, flying out 0 for 2. He homered here last night. Fastball up, 1-0. Peralta hitting over .330 versus right-hand pitchers this year, including 5 homers, but this is no ordinary right-hander out there. Fouled away at 96. Another fastball up. It's 1-1. Tying run at third, 2 outs in the 5th. Everything's up. 2-1.
David Peralta tried to do something that's only been done twice all season against Justin Verlander, and that's get a base hit with runners in scoring position. Opposing batters 2 for 23 this season against Verlander. He's punched out 11 in those situations.
That's unbelievable. 70 pitches, 48 strikes. Hard fastball down that time, and it's 2-2. Changing eye levels. Descalso, who's singled and doubled against Verlander so far, is on deck. He's got both D-backs hits today. Fastball right down the middle. 7 strikeouts for Verlander. Still 1-0 Houston. Reminder, fans, you can take part in our D-backs 50-50 charity raffle presented by the Arizona Lottery from right there at home, along with all of us at the ballpark. It's your chance to win half the pot at Chase Field and help the kids in our community. Get your tickets online during every D-backs home game on Fox Sports Arizona at dbacks.com/5050 raffle, and they'll show the winning number on the D-backs live postgame show. Pot right now is just over $29,000 here. And another big crowd. Good crowds all weekend here to see the World Series champs. Matt Cook so far has given up only 1 run on 4 hits. Alex Bregman's home run in the 2nd is all the scoring. And Jose Altuve 0 for 2 leads off the 6th. One and one. Matt Cook continues to do an impressive job filling in for Taijuan Walker after Taijuan's Tommy John surgery. A no decision against the Dodgers his last time out last Tuesday night. 2 earned runs, only 4 hits allowed in 5 innings. Prior to that, 6 innings of 2-hit ball against the Padres here at Chase Field, then a win at Philadelphia on the last road trip. Again, 2 runs allowed in 6. He got his first win. And to say he keeps you in the ball game, gives you a chance to win, so far has been a big understatement from Matt Cook.
It really has been, yeah.
Carlos Correa on deck, 2-2 to Altuve. Reaches out and pokes it down the right field line. Souza giving chase. And that's a fair ball. Altuve on the run. He's heading for third. He's in there with a triple. His first this year. And landed just inside the foul line down there in the right field corner.
Tail end of the play there as Altuve goes into the head first slide. Gets a hand on the bag before Descalso can get the tag on the back that time. Well, Altuve made up his mind early that he was going to go for three. I think if you hit the first cutoff man there, you might have a chance at him at third base, but it airmailed the first two cutoff guys. Nick Ahmed was the third guy in the line that time, and by the time they got it to third base, it was too late.
Correa doubled his last time up. Got him right on the elbow guard.
Well, we talked about it earlier. Matt Cook working these Astros hitters inside, keeping them honest. That one right off the elbow guard, putting runners at first and third with nobody out.
The batter will be Josh Reddick. Reddick is flied out to center and lined out to right. 0 for 2. 1 for 9 in the series. This is in the 4th inning with Correa at second and 1 out. Steven Souza Jr.
Covered 59 feet.
He can cover a lot of ground out there. Cook behind 2-0. 2 on and no outs. 3 infielders on the right side. Here's the Matt Cook changeup. Got a big swing and a miss. Good time to throw that pitch in a 2-0 count to Reddick. Altuve's at third. Correa's at first. Nobody out. Change up and a fastball, and he's back even 2-2.
Well, he's got so much pine tar on that helmet. It looks like it's running down the bill of the helmet. Just a tad too much.
He's always been a little messy like that, Josh Reddick. Wouldn't chase the changeup, and it's full 3-2. Bregman on deck. It's twice that they've used that changeup in this at bat against Reddick. Here it is on 3-2. Fastball in. How about that? Went to the cutter back door and got him for a big strikeout.
He had to use his whole arsenal that time. He missed with the first two pitches, a hanging curveball up above the zone, and then away with a fastball. Got a foul ball on that 2-0 changeup right there. Key pitch to get back in the at bat, a fastball for a foul. Missed with a change, gets another foul ball on a fastball, and then works that back door with the cut fastball at 89.
Mike Butcher wants a word now. Boy, if you can get somehow a ground ball here against Bregman, get out of this mess. I have Matt Cook with 6 ground ball outs so far. Bregman has homered and popped up. Big crowd here today. Series finale at Chase Field. The D-backs of the Astros. Just over 39,000 with us here last night. And Bark in the Park Day today. A lot of the pups are here in the park with us. Here's Bregman.
With that solo home run back in the second inning. How about this for Alex Bregman? He's had 15 plate appearances without swinging and missing.
Wow. He has walked more often this year than he struck out. On base percentage is just over 370. Here's the double play ball. They get one. And they roll it. Matt Cook. Runners in the corners and no outs. He gets a strikeout and a double play. What a job by Matt Cook to keep this a 1-0 ball game.
Hats off for heroes, because no matter where you serve or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
Got a good one cooking here at Chase Field. Bottom of the 6th inning, 1-0 Astros. It's really been a pitcher's duel up to this point. Outstanding job by Matt Cook. After giving up the leadoff triple to Jose Altuve, he stranded him with that 6-4-3 double play to get out of the inning.
And here's Descalso, who has both D-backs hits against Justin Verlander. He leads off the home half of the 6th. Boy, Matt Cook really made some big league pitches there to get out of that mess. Slow curveball from Verlander, 0-1. Descalso was singled and doubled. Houston has out hit the D-backs 5-2. Each team has left 4. Curveball and 2 sliders so far. Left side of the field wide open for him. Still hasn't seen a fastball.
Last time Verlander threw him a fastball, Daniel Descalso roped it into the gap in right center field for a double.
Boy, Daniel over his last 13 games is hitting better than .340. And his on base percentage over that span is at .455, so he has been extremely productive. 2 for 2 so far today. There's a fastball fouled back, and it stays 1-2. Daniel doubled and walked last night. He's got 3 hits in the series. Goldie will be next.
Verlander makes a habit of always looking over his shoulder to see where all his defenders are before he throws the next pitch. And with the Astros moving around as much as they have in this series, it's probably a good idea.
I guess these days you have to think about those things all the time. A.J. Hinch likes to move his guys all over the place. They got 3 infielders on the right side right now. Bregman standing in the shortstop spot. There's no one anywhere near third base. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Daniel Descalso. Trying real hard not to throw him a fastball. Full count, 3-2.
About halfway through his delivery and thought better of it. Had a second thought, now mouthing some words into his catcher.
Just wasn't feeling it. We'll start again. That slider was right on the corner, didn't get the call. He's not happy. That's his 3rd walk in the ball game, and Descalso aboard for the 3rd time today. Here's Goldie, who's 0 for 2.
Ties the season high for Justin Verlander with the 3 walks today. He walked 3 White Sox a couple of starts ago.
Goldie is flied out, grounded out. There's a little flare. Altuve ranging out there, and he runs it down. .22 at bats now without a base hit for Goldie, the longest consecutive streak without a hit in his career.
The thing for me that's the most concerning about it is he hasn't really barreled a ball up for a long time. He hit a line drive to right field. Was that game 1 of this series? I think maybe against Garrett Cole. And it's hard to remember the last time Goldie barreled one up.
AJ has struck out and walked. Buries that fastball down in there. 1-1. AJ's hit safely in 5 of his last 6 games. He's got a double and 4 homers over that stretch. Fastball's low. 2-1. Padres have taken a 2-0 lead over the Dodgers. They're in the 5th inning at Monterrey, Mexico. Rockies 3-2 winners at Citi Field. They beat the Mets today. Giants winners in Atlanta 4-3 beat the Braves. AJ drives one deep to center, and it's over Springer's head. This will get Descalso home. AJ racing for third. And he's in there. The throw gets behind Bregman, and he's coming home. Safe! Oh, now they got him. Everybody take a look. And we're going to get we got a collision there at third. Looks like an obstruction call. AJ Hinch is out there. Roberto Ortiz, the plate umpire, ran up the line as the umpires rotate, and I think he's called an obstruction play at third on Alex Bregman, interfering with the runner, getting in the way of the runner, Pollock. Keep your eye on the umpire here. There's the signal right there.
And technically there doesn't even have to be contact between the defender and the runner if the umpire feels like the defender interfered with or obstructed the runner's right to the baseline.
Yes, that can become a judgment call on the part of the umpire.
He even stuck the right foot out there a little bit to try to hold AJ back before breaking for home plate.
There's a type 1 obstruction and a type 2 obstruction in the rule book. And when you see an umpire point laterally at a play, he is indicating type 2 obstruction. And I think that's what we have right here.
I mean, no initial intent on the part of Bregman to hold AJ back, but once contact was made, and they looked like AJ might have gone out of his way a little bit to make sure there was contact.
So that becomes a triple E5, brings the runner home, and it's 2-1 D-backs.
All the excitement there at the end of the play, you kind of lose sight of the fact that AJ just barreled one up off of Verlander straight away center field over the head of George Springer, which is not an easy thing to do.
Steven Souza Jr. 0 for 2. He hits one out to Fisher in left. Second time he's flying out on the first pitch of an at-bat. And here's Ketel Marte. So it goes as a triple for Pollock, scoring the run. E5 gets AJ home, and it's 2-1 D-backs. Interference is always when the runner interferes with the fielder. The fielder obstructs the runner, and there are 2 types of obstruction violations. We just saw the type 2 right there. And that's where it gets a little complicated. But that's basically what just happened. Anytime you see the umpire point laterally at a play like that, it's a type 2 obstruction. Jorge De La Rosa starts to get loose in the D-back bullpen. Another interesting part about that play, something you usually only see at the ballpark, because the ball was hit to deep center field. The umpires rotate all the way over, and Brian Gorman, the first base umpire, made the out call at home plate. And Ortiz moved up from home to make that call at third.
I know most people don't come out here to the ballpark to watch the umpires, but at some point in a game, if you happen to be out at a ballpark, watch the umpires. They have signals to each other. If ball hit this way, I'm going there. Ball hit in the gap, I'm going to go over here. They always know where the other guy is going to be when that ball's put into play.
Curveball missed, and it's full 3-2.
As if there aren't enough signs to remember in baseball. Even the umpires have signs.
Got him on a fastball. A crazy play at the plate results in 2 D-backs runs. They lead it 2-1. Back out there on the mound. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. A travel day tomorrow. We have a quick 2-game stop in LA starting on Tuesday night. Zach Godley versus Rich Hill. We anticipate Rich Hill will start that game for LA. Alex Wood on Wednesday. Patrick Corbin gets the start Wednesday for the Diamondbacks.
Hey, partner, I know you want to join me in congratulating Diamondbacks assistant trader Ryan DePanflo and his wife Catherine. They had their 3rd child, a baby girl named Cameron Rose. Kelly and Reese now have a new baby sister.
They're in good hands with Ryan DePanfilo, certainly taking care of things. Brian McCann starts the 7th against Matt Cook, who's still only at 69 pitches through 6 innings. Curveball missed. It's 1-0. Shift is on for McCann, who's lined out and flied out. Boy, Matt Cook has been tremendously efficient. 9-pitch first, 13 pitches, 11 pitches, 10, 12, 14. There's a little tapper back to the mound. 12 outs recorded on 3 or fewer pitches for Matt Cook here today.
And we're seeing what Matt Cook's strength is. Soft contact. We've seen a lot of 3 and 4 hop ground balls right at Diamondbacks defenders here in the infield. A lot of lazy fly balls to the outfield.
Yoshi Hirano, who had a rough 8th inning last night, has joined Jorge De La Rosa in the D-back bullpen. Marwin Gonzalez, the first baseman, 1 for 2. Change up away gets the call, and it's 0-1. Matt Cook was outstanding in the 6th inning. Altuve a leadoff triple. He hit Correa with a pitch. Astros had first and third, no outs in a 1-0 game. And Matt struck out Josh Reddick on a 3-2 pitch and got Alex Bregman to hit into a double play to strand both runners. This one is laced down the line, a fair ball into the right field corner. And Gonzalez has his second hit today, a 1-out single. Torey Lovullo on his way out. Matt Cook at 77 pitches through 6 1/3. He's got Hirano and De La Rosa warming up in the pen. The left-hand batting Derek Fisher coming up. A tremendous job today against the World Series champs by Matt Cook. He held the Astros to 1 run through 6 1/3. Our Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing Cool plays of the game.
And really did it with command. Had that fastball at 91, 92, working it on both sides of the plate, usually down around the bottom of the zone. Mixed in just enough secondary pitches to keep the Astros honest, but basically he did it with a low 90s fastball against a really good offense.
So here is Jorge De La Rosa brought on to face the left-hand batting Derek Fisher. But A.J. Hinch will counter with the right-hand hitter. It's Yuli Gurriel.
And it's one of those decisions you have to make as a manager. Would you rather have a possibly tiring Matt Cook face the left-handed hitting Derek Fisher, or a fresh Jorge De La Rosa facing one of the right-handed pinch hitters off the bench? And Torey decided he'd rather go with his lefty.
So here is Gurriel, 275 and a homer, 5 hits in the series. He doubled and drove in 3 runs in Friday's opener. Gonzalez is the runner at first and 1 out. Pitcher spot is up next, and Evan Gattis is in the on-deck circle. So A.J. Hinch going to his 2 big right-hand bats off the bench here with 1 out in the 7th. Jorge had a rough outing here Thursday afternoon against the Dodgers. A couple of wild pitches late in the game. Cost the D-backs a win. Opened up the way for a big LA inning. Matt Cook responsible for Gonzalez at first. Two and two. Hector Rondon ready in the bullpen. Gaddis on deck, set to hit for Verlander. Backhanded by Descalso at third. He doesn't have time to recover, and Gurriel's aboard. He kept the ball from getting up the line. 2 on and 1 out, and Gaddis will hit for Verlander.
Yeah, probably saved extra bases, but unable to make a play. Ball just hits off the thumb of his glove, off his thigh, and then drops right there. By the time he retrieves it, no chance to get it out.
They score that E5. And here comes Lovello. Gaddis is announced. And we'll see Yoshihisa Hirano, who will try to bounce back from the 8th inning last night. Back after this. Lead with 1 out, and on for the Diamondbacks, the right-hander Yoshihisa Hirano, who had a rough 8th inning here last night. 2 walks and 2 doubles resulted in 2 Astros runs. D-backs came back and won it 4-3 on the Pollock walk-off, but we'll see if Yoshi can bounce back here against the pinch hitter Evan Gaddis, who bats for Verlander. Gaddis grounded out as a pinch hitter last night against Archie Bradley. His only at bat in the series. Marwin Gonzalez is the runner at second. Yuli Gurriel at first. So Verlander's day ends here. He walked 3, had 8 strikeouts in the ball game. 2 on and 1 out. Gaddis just 1 for 16 over his last 7 games. He's usually the Astros DH, obviously not in play here in the National League Park.
I'd love that ground ball right here. Gaddis does not run well at all. Get that splitter down there around the knees with some downward movement. Look for that ground ball.
Fastball up. 1-2. George Springer, the on deck hitter. Once again, a slow day offensively for the D-backs has put the bullpen in some high leverage situations. Hirano trying to hang on to a 2-1 lead in the 7th. Another high fastball, and he gets a big strikeout.
Boy, nice job up the ladder fastball up there above the letters. You see Gaddis loses the bottom hand on the bat, just finishes his swing with the top hand only. Blew it right by him.
Well, this would mean a lot for Yoshi to bounce back and get these 2 critical outs right here. Springer's 0 for 3.
Springer struck out to end that 8th inning when Yoshi had struggled earlier. You mentioned the 2 doubles and the 2 walks, allowing the Astros to score 2, but he did strike out Springer to get out of the inning.
Everybody stays put.
It got away a little bit, but fortunately for the Diamondbacks, it got away on the third base side. So Alex is bouncing on that ball. His momentum was going to lead him right to a throw at third base, so Gonzalez had nowhere to go.
Fastball just off the plate. It's 2-0.
Didn't get the call, and it appeared it was just off the strike zone, but what a great location. That's right where you want to throw that fastball. Maybe scooted in about a half an inch.
There's the splitter. Caught the bottom of the zone. 2-1. Bobby Freeman. Two and two. He missed a fastball. Well, Matt Cook got a big double play ball to end a Houston threat in the 6th. And now Yoshi Hirano's a strike away in the 7th. Altuve would be next. The reigning AL MVP is on deck. Souza in right, long run, and it's out of play. Another big crowd here today, nearly 36,000 with us. The weekend total for this 3-game series, more than 104,000 fans in here with us at Chase Field.
Nice going, D-backs fans.
Outstanding. 2 and 2, 2 on and 2 out. Yoshi Hirano and George Springer. Gonzalez is at second, and Gurriel at first. Lifts it in the air, shallow center. AJ coming in. Yoshihisa Hirano keeps it at 2-1. D-backs lead.
Away with a fastball right there. 2-0 count against a dangerous hitter. He drops a splitter in for a strike, and then a couple of fastballs right out there on the outside corner of the plate before the final split finger at 84 got the lazy pop up into center field. Rare show of emotion for Hirano, a little fist pump, and George Springer upset he missed those two fastballs in the middle of the sequence.
Big bounce back outing for Yoshi Hirano after his rough 8th inning last night. Some 2 big outs to get Gaddis and Springer and get us to the bottom of the 7th inning. And on in relief of Justin Verlander for the second night in a row, it's Hector Rondon. Yuri Gurriel remains in the game. He takes over at first base. And Marwin Gonzalez, who had been at first base, takes over for Derek Fisher in left field. Alex Avila leads it off. He has struck out and walked. Astros put the shift on against Avila. D-backs bullpen will face Altuve, Correa, and Reddick, 2, 3, and 4, and those are Archie Bradley's guys. He's starting to get it cranked up down there. Here's a slider, 1-1. This is out to left center field. Gonzalez has moved out there from first base, and he runs it down, one away.
Hey, fans, watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, at the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Nick Ahmed 0 for 2. Pitcher spot behind Nick. Chris Owings is out in the on-deck circle. Archie Bradley warming up in the bullpen. There's ball 1.
That's a hard slider from Rondon. That last one at 87.
Hector Rondon, a scoreless 8th inning last night, had a strikeout. He's pitched scoreless baseball in 10 of his 13 appearances this year. And he's ahead of Ahmed 1-2. Owings set to hit for Hirano. Reaches down and lifts it foul ground first base side. Gurriel giving chase, but it's out of play.
Some old school D-backs fans, they'll remember that back in the day when they used to play that particular music, when Bobby Freeman would play that on the organ, they would show on the big board some stick figures pumping their fists in the air like that, and D-backs fans that were here at the beginning remember that.
Yeah, we still see a lot of that here at the ballpark these days. Ahmed strikes out, 2 down.
Series of hard sliders down low and away, and he comes back with a hard sinker down and in that time underneath the swing of Nick Ahmed.
So CO will hit for Yoshi Hirano. Owings 236 at a homer. He walked as a pinch hitter last night. That was a big at bat in that 9th inning, setting up the AJ Pollock walk-off. Of course, Chris had the D-backs only hit against Garrett Cole here Friday. He's hit safely in 4 straight. Two and one. Now that Steven Souza Jr. is back, Chris Owings' role a little more ambiguous than it was when Souza was on the DL. He says he's kind of in a wait and see mode to see where the at-bats are going to come from. Torrey would like to see a nice mix for Chris. Right field, left field, some third, some short, some second. And that's the role they outlined for Chris in spring training, a jack of all trades, and they'll find as many at bats and innings as they can for Chris.
Well, obviously the deeper you get into the season, the more you're going to want to rest your regular players, and that's where I think CO's value will really show up. Maybe not so much in the early season, especially with Souza coming back and Jake Lamb coming back soon. But eventually those guys that have been out there playing every day since the beginning are going to need a little bit of a rest, and that's where Chris Owings can be plugged in just about anywhere on the field.
2-2 is fouled back. Boy, Rondon sticking with that slider. Former D-back Will Harris ready in the Houston pen. Got him. Another slider from Rondon, who works a 1-2-3-7. Archie Bradley coming on. Altuve, Correa, and Reddick due up in the 8th inning.
Bradley is in. Last night he told Torey Lovullo he'd be ready anytime after the 6th. He came in a crucial situation. He got 4 batters in just 11 pitches, guys, and in the 7th he got Springer, Altuve, and Correa. He said he embraces that challenge of facing the heart of this order, and he's going to stay aggressive. That's the only way he knows how to do it. He's been successful with it, and he's got a tough task once again here today.
Yeah, Jody, Archie had to come on and get that final out of the 6th inning last night before coming back out to work that 1-2-3-7, which means he's got to maintain that high energy level throughout the break in between those 2 appearances in the innings. And he threw in the ball game last night. Only 11 pitches, got 4 outs. Altuve will lead it off for the Astros. He's a little late getting out there.
Well, the bat boy put his helmet on the top shelf and he couldn't reach it.
Oh, see, that's not right. Yes, sir. He tripled his last time up. D-backs have been out hit 6-3, but they lead it 2-1 on a crazy obstruction play at third base. Roberto Ortiz has not called that pitch a strike most of the day. It's just off the plate. It's not a strike on our computer. Didn't get the call that time, and it's 1-1. Archie, when he faced Altuve last night, got him to ground out to shortstop. He came on to start that 7th inning against the big boys. Got Springer to pop up, Altuve and Correa to ground out. A 1-2-3-7th. Fastballs in the dirt, 2-2. Descalso, little dribbler to third. One away.
Boy, obviously in a one-run ball game, a big first out to get, but I really think the Astros feed off of Jose Altuve. If he's getting on base and making things happen, the entire lineup tends to energize. So get him out of the way quickly there on that ground ball to third base.
Correa doubled in the fourth. He was hit by a pitch his last time up against Matt Cook. Yeah, that one just caught the edge of the strike zone there, and it's 0-1. He's got the Space Jam high tops going. No red glove today. Wasn't feeling the red glove. Trying a curveball. Archie had one outing recently where he came up out of nowhere and threw a whole bunch of curveballs, but usually that's just kind of a show me pitch for him. Doubled up with it that time. 2-1. Souza in right, backing up near the track. 2 down. Josh Reddick 0 for 3. D-backs put 3 defenders on the right side of the infield.
Archie Bradley, for me, is the pitching equivalent of Nolan Arenado. He stands out there on the rubber, rocking back and forth from foot to foot, like, hurry up and give me a sign so I can throw another pitch.
Well, it's that energy level that stays way up in the stratosphere when he's out there that you worry about maintaining when he tries to get more than 3 outs. Once he gets up there, you don't want to bring him back down. And he loses Reddick, and he'll deal with Bregman, who homered in the second. That's been the only Houston run so far. Brad Boxberger wound up as the winning pitcher last night through 12 pitches, worked that 9th inning. In the hole, Descalso in front of Ahmed. Archie Bradley keeps it 2-1. Bottom 8th coming up.
And right now, he stands ahead on all the cards in the boxing match. He went toe-to-toe with the heavyweight champ. Right now, he's leading.
Ain't going to be no rematch.
Ain't going to be no rematch. Don't want one.
Okay. Steve, bring it home. We'll see you after with D-backs Live.
I like the Gracie quote there at the end from Rocky. Oh, solid work. Here's Will Harris, the former D-back. David Peralta leads off the bottom of the 8th, 0 for 3. That's by Gurriel and down the line. Reddick over to cut it off. A long single for Peralta.
Possibly David might be able to get extra bases. A little cut fastball inside corner down. He rips it down toward the right field corner. Josh Reddick, a real good defender out there, able to get to this one quickly and unleash a strong throw back to the infield to hold Peralta to 1.
Well, here's the guy who's had the big bat today, Daniel Descalso, against Justin Verlander. Single, doubled, walked, and scored a run. He's 2 for 2. Bregman, the only Astros defender on the left side of the infield. Fastball's a strike, 0-1.
Nearly the exaggerated shift in the outfield that we saw earlier in the ball game when Verlander was on the mound. A little more straight up in the outfield now. Reddick cheating a few steps toward that gap in right center.
Brad Boxberger is up in the D-back bullpen. Now, Brad's a guy that warms up really quickly, so he's not even started throwing yet. He doesn't need a whole lot down there. He'll wait until there's an out or two in the inning to get really going. 1-2 on Descalso. He didn't go. Mike DeMuro at third. Houston in the 9th will have McCann, Gonzalez, and Gurriel due up. 6, 7, and 8. Pitcher spot after that. Goldie on deck. Fastball's up. Full count, 3-2. Peralta takes off for second. Descalso hits it to Altuve. They stay out of the double play, and Peralta moves up.
Hey fans, the D-backs and Geico are proud to offer military and first responders ticket discounts all season long. Active and retired service members can enjoy up to 50% off select locations for every game of the season. For more info, visit dbacks.com/military.
A.J. Hinch wants the baseball. Will Harris is on his way out. Goldie on his way up. Joe Smith coming in. Back after this. Can't watch the games on TV. Stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's presented locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the app for free. Take Fox Sports Arizona and the D-backs with you wherever you go. Joe Smith on to face Paul Goldschmidt. We saw Smith pitch at the ball game last night. He got Goldie to pop up to third and then struck out A.J. Pollock to win the 7th. Goldie up there with Peralta at second base and 1 out. Slider up, missed, and it's 1-0. Mentioned this earlier. Goldie has had 1 RBI in his last 18 games. Now, Joe Smith has been around a long time. He knows what he's doing out there. Tough at bat for a right-hander. Shattered the bat. Correa charges. And that's what Joe Smith can do. Right down the middle.
Tailing fastball working its way back inside, just shattered the bat of Paul Goldschmidt. Correa really had to rush his throw over there just in time to get Goldie.
Well, AJ has struck out, walked, and hit an RBI triple on a play that wound up because of an obstruction call at third. Turning into 2 runs for the D-backs, and that's all the scoring so far for Arizona. This one's trying to get down. Fair ball. Here comes Peralta. Pollock does it again. It's 3-1. And now they throw it away. AJ heads for second. And he's out of there, but they get the run across. A pad run for Brad Boxberger. Another big hit for A.J. Pollock. 3-1. We hit the 9th. A.J. Pollock comes through again. A big 2-out RBI single to make it 3-1 D-backs as we hit the 9th inning. And here is the closer, Brad Boxberger, 10 for 10 in his save opportunities this year. He was the winning pitcher in last night's ball game. Came on in a tie game in the 9th inning. Got 3 outs on 12 pitches. And he'll look to save this one and give the D-backs a series win. Devin Marrero comes into the game, takes over at third base for Daniel Descalso. Brian McCann, Marwin Gonzalez, and Yulieski Gurriel, the scheduled hitters for the Astros in the Houston 9th. McCann today 0 for 3. D-backs overload the right-hand side with 3 defenders. Changeup got away from him. 2 balls and 1 strike. Marrero in at third, bats 9th pitcher spot, now 2nd in the D-backs order. Fastball's low and it's 3-1. Gonzalez, who singled twice, is on deck. Taking all the way, full count, 3-2. He walks the leadoff man. Marwin Gonzalez 2 for 3. That's a good pitch right there. Doesn't get the call from Roberto Ortiz. It's 1-0. Gonzalez, a switch hitter. Both home runs this season coming as a left-hand batter. And he wants a word with Avila. Here comes Mike Butcher as well. Boxberger 9 pitches so far, only 3 for strikes.
As you said, Marwin Gonzalez, a couple homers as a left-handed hitter. You don't really worry about his power, but the guy in the on-deck circle, you've got to be concerned with his ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark. You don't want to put any more runners on base.
Yuli Gurriel. Gurriel had a 4-hit game here Friday night. Some work to do for Boxberger. They walk McCann, now behind on Gonzalez, 2-0. Fastball for a strike, 2-1.
Good meeting.
Now he's on his own for the rest of it, though. Slap foul, 2-2. Sticks with a fastball. D-backs dropped the series opener here Friday night. Garrett Cole struck out 16 through a one-hit shutout. They got the walk-off win last night. A.J. Pollock in the 9th inning, trying to win the series 2-1. Called strike 3. Just caught a seam. Gurriel will hit. Big out there for Boxberger, who is behind in the count 2-0. Change up, left it up. Gurriel 5 hits in the series. He's riding a 7-game hitting streak. Pitcher spot is up next. Max Stassi, the catcher, is in the on-deck circle. We saw him behind the plate Friday night. One and two. Just over the head of Gary Pettis at third. Way ahead of a changeup. There's Gary Pettis. Well, he could run back in his day. Souza got to come in. They'll have to play it on a hop. McCann stops at second.
Great location on that fastball, off the plate, below the knees. Gurriel somehow reaches out there and gets enough of it to goose it into shallow right field. Steven Souza Jr. was playing really deep out there. The no doubles defense for the Diamondbacks in the outfield.
So here is Max Stassi, who was the catcher in Friday's series opener. He singled and walked in that ball game. 244 this year. He's homered twice. Out of play. Ken Giles, the right-hander, warming up, along with Peacock, who was the pitcher that gave up the Pollock walk-off last night. He threw only that one pitch in the ball game. 0-1 on Max Stassi. McCann at second and Gurriel at first. Swing and a miss on a fastball, and it's 0-2. Got him. Elevated the fastball. 2 down.
Scoots it up there about letter high. Just blows a 92-mile-an-hour fastball by Max Stassi that time.
One more big out to get, and it's a guy who started today hitting better than .450 in his career against the Diamondbacks in 15 games. But George Springer 0 for 4 so far today. 3-1, 9th inning, 2 outs and 2 on. He's working upstairs with that fastball. He's a strike away. D-backs trying to take 2 of 3 from the World Series champs. One ball and 2 strikes on George Springer. Box him up. D-backs win it 3-1. They take 2 of 3. And the Diamondbacks have yet to lose a series this season.
How about that? They went 2-1 against the defending World Series champions, despite the fact they only had 12 hits in the 3 games and went 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position.
Well, I know you're going to take a couple of days off. We're headed to L.A. for 2 against the Dodgers starting on Tuesday. Much more on this one when we come back. D-backs win it 3-1.